Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Science. Get this video started. So today I'd like to talk about some of the things I'd like to see in the next Monster Hunter game. 5 of them to be specific. That's a pretty generic video idea, but I wanted to talk about them. Now before we go any further, I do want to mention that, or if you saw my community post, you'll know I got some pretty severe food poisoning. It kind of messed up my throat, and my throat is still messed up, so I may be kind of struggling to speak a bit in the video today. But let's go ahead and get into the first thing I want to talk about, which is a new weapon. I really want a new weapon at this point. Feels like it's been forever since we've got a new weapon. Now that said, I think this is pretty unlikely, right? I mean, for one, honestly, I don't really have any idea what they could add at this point. I mean, like, they've kind of covered most of the main archetypes of weapons, and at this point, it would be difficult to add something without stepping on some toes, right? But just honestly, I'd be happy with pretty much anything at this point, as long as it's not some weird derivative of existing weapons like the medium bowgun, right? Which nobody liked, basically. And you know, maybe we could even see something like the tonfas or the magnet spike from Frontier Return. Just, you know, obviously reimagined and, you know, remade, right? Especially the magnet spikes. Ooh. Imagine magnet spikes in Sunbreak as they were. But let's move on, and you probably already figured out this next one from the background footage, but Frontier monsters. This is a pretty hot topic in the community right now, especially with the very successful introduction of Espionage to Sunbreak. It's a fantastic, phenomenal fight. It's very fun. Espionage is a very cool monster, and everyone loving Espionage. So obviously, people are wanting to see more Frontier monsters, and I've been on this one for several games actually. I never got to play Frontiers, and I've seen so many cool designs from Frontier, and I'd really like to see some of them in the main games, right? So I've been hoping for this one for a while. I don't have too much hope. Maybe one or two, you know, something more simple ones like Espionage. We might see a couple more. I'm not expecting anything too crazy, but there's so many cool Frontier designs that I'd love to see. But let's go ahead and move on to switch skills. Now, switch skills is easily my favorite feature from Rise. It's not even close. It's given us a degree of control over our playstyle that we've quite never had before, even with hunter styles in the past. Just being able to pick and choose what, you know, ability to do and don't want, and you're not having just some a preset basically, right? It's just really nice, right? And I do think this is pretty likely to happen. It does feel kind of, or at least to me, it kind of feels like put a bit too much work into the system for them to just completely scrap it. We probably won't see, you know, probably the exact system we have now. It'll be some sort of evolution of some kind, or reworking of some kind. I really hope that if they do introduce switch skills in the next game, they try to do a not necessarily much better job, but do a better job with the balancing. There were a lot of skills in Rise that were basically completely useless compared to their counterparts. And you know, even though there was technically a choice, there wasn't really a choice, right? And so I'd like to see that dealt with better, right? And that's pretty much all I had to say about it. And you know, this next one might be a little controversial. I'd like to see underwater combat return personally. Quite a bit, actually. Partially because there's just like a lot of really cool Leviathans. Some that I think probably wouldn't be as cool if they were on land. Because, you know, I do think even if we don't get underwater swimming, we're likely to see some Leviathans. Because it does seem like they've already been trying to bring some Leviathans back, you know, in World and Rise. And they just haven't managed to do so for whatever reason. But one thing I will say, that if you're like immediately sort of like, you know, hissing away at this, is that it's most likely that they could do a much better job of it now, right? Especially on modern hardware with more experience under their belt. It's very likely if they tried to do underwater combat today, it would be fantastic, right? But all that said, my biggest reason is I want to see the Monster Hunter team make underwater environments at the kind of level we saw in environments in Monster Hunter World, or even better, right? I think it would be just mind-blowingly, gorgeous environments that we would expect to see, right? Just fantastic stuff I would expect. And I really want to see it, right? I really want to see it. Now, that said, I don't think it's really all that likely, other than getting Leviathans. I think we'll get Leviathans at some point in the near future for sure. One moment. Like I said, my throat. Now, that said, moving into the last topic of the video, I want something like the Guiding Lands back from World. Not necessarily just like it, but something similar. Maybe with less of the tedious stuff, right? And the big reason is, the main thing I enjoyed about the Guiding Lands was essentially just go in, turn off your brain, and play the game, right? Just play. And it was fantastic. It was fantastic. I loved it. Just grinding the game for no particular reason. I did it so much. Again, for like literally no reason. I was getting basically nothing out of it. And I was just playing to have fun. All types of monsters spawning in all the time. It's just fantastic. And if not necessarily something like the Guiding Lands, but basically even just improved expeditions or something like that, right? Something along the lines of the Guiding Lands with less of the annoying stuff, right? And I think this will be it. Let me know what you guys want to see in the next Monster Hunter game. And I'll catch you guys in the next video, alright? Take it easy and have a good one, everybody.